All right, now we need to begin our project. And so first thing that we need to do is download some images. Now, of course, we're going to be creating the Ken Burns effect, which means that we're going to be panning and zooming images. That means the images need to be bigger than the frame for the video. Now, just a quick comparison of video frames, we're going to be using the 720p size. This is the smallest of the high-def video sizes. It's only 1280 by 720 pixels, so it's not too big. That's about half the size of a 1920 by 1080, and that's the full high def video size. Now, in comparison, here's the common 4K or UHD that you see a lot of times now, 4096 by 2160. That's a really, really big image. That's about 8 times larger than the 720p. So we definitely don't want to go that big. But our target resolution is going to be above 1280 pixels. Typically. Now, all the images that I've downloaded are not quite all that big, but that's okay. As long as you're close, you're not going to really see some major problems. Now, when you go to your images, definitely go over to Tools, and let's show our sizes so you know what the sizes are. And you'll immediately see when sizes are too small, like this 760 by 507. That's way too small and can't go into our project. Now, the other thing you can do is you can go for images that are larger than a certain size. You can even go larger than 2 megapixels. And it's great to find some large images. But if you find ones that are like 1024, they're not perfect because they are going to be scaled up just a little bit, but maybe that scaling a tiny bit, you're not going to see too much. And I'm willing to forgive a little bit of quality issues for finding the right image. Now, look at this image and you'll see that it says that it's astronomical resolution at 5100 pixels, but notice that it's not coming in. It's just showing me this small thumbnail. So you have to be careful because sometimes you might actually have to go to the actual image itself, like open that image in a new tab, and you'll see I'm not getting that large image. So just be careful. Now, do be aware that when you do download really large images, it's going to slow down Premiere, and you'll see the effect of that. So like this image that is really large, you gotta just be careful. So you want to find images, and then when you download those images, one of the things that I want you to be aware of is where that image is coming from. So if you like an image like this, look where it's coming from. This one is coming from Time Magazine. This one is coming from As We Saw It. This one is coming from Fortune. And so I want you to actually keep track of those. So what you want to do is create a folder for this project. I'm going to call it KenBurnsTuts. I'm going to make a folder for footage, and I'm going to put my music and my photos into that folder. And I've already downloaded a bunch of images already. And you'll see that I tried whenever possible to kind of just give them, even though I kept their long, crazy names from the downloads, I tried to put just a little bit of something at the beginning of the name so that we have at least some sort of consistent naming convention so I can tell what images relate to what. Just anything that you can do to kind of organize your images a little bit would be good. You just don't have to completely rename everything. Now, we also need to download our music. For our music, I'm going to try and get my music from Free Play Music, and you'll notice this one has the name of the song that I downloaded and tells me what album it's done and what composer. Now, the reason this information is important is because once you're starting to download images, I want you to create a sources file so you know what audio files you're using, the title of it, what it comes from, who the composer is, and what website it's from. If you're getting them from Free Play Music, great. Otherwise, of course, you need to have the name of the song, what album it's from, and the composer. And then you also want to keep all of the places that you've gotten your images from, because this is going to go into the credits at the end of your project. Now you want to put everything into your footage folder. I have a downloads here because one of the things that I wanted to show about Free Play Music is that one of the things I love is they give you more than one version of that song. They give you the original full length plus a 30-second and possibly even 60-second. I'm only going to be using the 60-second version, so I've moved that into my music folder so that I have everything there. Now that we have our folder and we've got our footage together in a footage folder, now we're ready to start our Premiere project. So we go to Premiere, create a new project, and we want to make sure that we're browsing for that folder that we created. So I'm selecting that folder, and we need to give this a name. So Burns Toots, and I'm giving my name on it. And so none of the other things really do we need to worry about. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure the location is correct and that the name is correct. Now, once we've created that, that means we now have this project inside that folder. Now, as soon as you are ready to bring in footage, all we have to do is take that footage folder that we've created, and we want to make sure everything's in there before we drag this into our project. Once we drag it in, we're now importing all of that stuff in here all at one time. That's really easy. Now, alternately, we can click or double click in the footage window, and we can bring it in that way as well. And you can even import the folder just like the same thing as dragging it in. I might reset that back to saved, which is a little bit smaller. Now, the next thing that we need to do is create our sequence. So I'm going to create a sequence, and this is going to use the AVCHD 720p 30 setting, and we want to call this what it is. This one is the travel to Rome, so I'll say visit Rome, and then I'll call it edit. And I might even put my name on it as well, so that I know that it is an edit, which means it's a timeline for me, and it has my name on it. As soon as you've done that, let's go ahead and save our project. And the reason that I'm also saving it is because I want to go back and look at that folder, and you'll see that it created a new folder for us called an autosave folder, and that puts the last version of the project into that autosave. And that's kind of nice. And, you know, once again, it's going to autosave every 15 minutes or so, and it's going to save a lot of different files in there. So we always have backups, which I think is really, really great. Now, one thing just to point out that, we'll get back to this later on, is that one of the things that you might have a problem with is opening up this project in other versions of Premiere. If you have created a project in a newer version of Premiere, you can't open it in an older version, and that's a real problem. So there is this ability to export it at Final Cut XML, and that will give you some limited capabilities to move projects between different versions of Premiere. Anyway, let's go ahead on to the next tutorial where we'll learn how to do the Ken Burns effect.